We fueled up and headed out. Bill and I were on our way to see the Gulf. Our first stop was at LSU to interview Prasanta Chakrabarty, assistant professor, curator of ichthyology at LSU's Museum of Natural Science.
I don't always study fish from the Gulf, but one of the first things that happened when I got here is I happened to discover 2 new species of fish from the Gulf. And those guys are pancake batfish, and I have them here. So these are really unusual guys, and they eat invertebrates. And so I'm a little concerned about one of the new species, which its entire habitat now is in the region of the spill. It's almost just off the southern coast of Louisiana. And when we collected them just 30 miles off the coast of Louisiana, not too far off an oil rig. So with that limited habitat and the fact that they eat invertebrates, I'm pretty concerned about them.
The next day, we attended the South Mississippi Volunteer Organization's Active in Disasters (SMVOAD) Gulf Oil Spill Disaster Recovery Summit at the University of Southern Mississippi in Long Beach, Mississippi.
I think we have a long day ahead of us because there are like just panel after panel of people.
This is early in the stages of this disaster. When we're going to feel it, when we're going to see a lot of the effects are months and years down the road.
There are times in which this can become sort of an all-consuming, overwhelming experience for people.
Don't, as was noted in the earlier session, sit there and look all day long at that horrendous underwater volcano of oil. Very similar pattern, just like we've been told, 1,000 barrels of oil coming out, 4,000 barrels, 12,000 to 19,000 barrels, 20 to 40,000 barrels, 60,000 barrels, 90 to 120,000 barrels. Well, the Exxon Valdez, Exxon said 11 million. The press picked that figure up and ran with it. Due to the Public Records Act, information was to have found for the state of Alaska, who required objective evaluation because of the lawsuits that were involved with Exxon. And now, those people had estimated in 1990 24 to 36 million gallons. Just note this to show you that these estimates are all tied to the benefit of the principal responsible party.
From BP and our company, we're committed to, we can't change the situation that's happened, but what we can do is we can do our best to try to make it right. Their faces are laughing.
After the summit, we drove to Pensacola, Florida to see how the oil slick was affecting the local area.
The biggest thing that has affected so far, all 3 of us are scuba divers. Yeah. Fort Pickens is usually just an abundance of life. It's one of the most amazing dive sites you'll see, especially from the shore diving. And if you go there during high tide right now, which is incoming tide,
It's one of the grossest things you'll ever see.
The next day, they took us to Fort Pickens. We were taken aback by the signs warning us to stay out of the Gulf, but we had to take a look.
We're gonna jump in and basically go do a dive and get some underwater footage.
The only thing that makes me nervous is how long. You know, because we can put up with this for 1 season, and we can make it for 1 season. And if they come through like they were supposed to with the relief money, we could make it for a year. But next year, that would be terrible. I know, they're going in the water.
So we're just gonna go check it out and see how the oil is affecting it.
All right, gentlemen and ladies, this is a tar ball. That's some of the tar on one of the booms. Some of the oil that's left on there, the residue. This boon has been hard at work. That's what's on the beaches and at the bottom of the ocean right now.
How was the dive?
it was a good dive. Visibility is terrible right now because it's high tide and it's bringing all the particulates in, some of which are like little tar balls, so the visibility is pretty nasty. Like low tide will be a little better.
There is something strange and unsettling about watching nature and a man-made technological disaster clash on the beach. Just as the birds are nesting and the dolphins are swimming, tar balls are rolling in with the tide. The next morning we packed up and headed to Destin, Florida, a town which styles itself the world's luckiest fishing village and boasts of its white sand and beautiful beaches.
How has the incoming oil affected the area here in Destin?
It's, I kind of feel like it's, somebody just told me my Gulf of Mexico has cancer.
This is really, really, really hurting us this year. I mean, we're down big time.
This is going to have and has had a tremendous devastating effect. And the worst part about it is you don't know when it will end.
So I'm now looking into July and August. I have nothing on the books for this coming July, and that's the first time in my 10 years as a real estate agent that I've had nothing on the books. Even when the Katrina hit and all that, we were still closing up properties in some fashion or another. This has completely shut off real estate business.
The impact from the oil on Destin's beaches has been minimal, but many tourists still are not coming.
At least in Destin's situation, where there has not been a lot of heavy oil products, we were done in by the media. Our sales are trending down right now, probably 20 to 30%. I expect it to get much worse as we go along.
After soaking in the beauty of Destin and checking out the local flavor, we drove back to Mississippi. All along US Highway 90, crews were on the beach picking up cargoes. We spent the next few days in Bay St. Louis, Mississippi.
What's the overall sense of the community been like?
I think there's a lot of frustration because of what this area's gone through in Katrina.
You have a community that's, everybody's in a various state of different emotional recovery from Katrina.
The one thing that really stood out about Mississippi was all the empty lots and dilapidated buildings. They are still rebuilding from Hurricane Katrina.
So what are the duties, some of the duties you do with working here in Mississippi?
What I do is, I'm a volunteer with the EOC, or the Emergency Management Agency, and what we call the Emergency Operations Center, and I'm assigned as the ESF 10 person, or the Emergency Support Function 10, which is hazmat oil spill.
Okay. Okay, what are some of the effects that you've seen as far as physically on the beach?
We're seeing some tar balls. We're seeing a lot of, we're seeing oil birds because the oil is very close offshore, but the currents here also have helped us the way that our tidal currents are.
We spent the last day of the trip in New Orleans, where we talked to Megan Calhoun from the Audubon Nature Institute.
We at Audubon Nature Institute are not a BP contract facility. This is rescuing sea turtles and marine mammals is something that we've been doing for the past 15 years. This is something we will continue to do, and we are doing in this oil spill. We have not received one penny from BP yet.
She showed us the first sea turtle that they had rescued from the Gulf.
This is infamous LA-15 that we coined Olay for Oil of Olay. He came in on May 18th. We are prepared to care for all the turtles that we have for an indefinite period of time. We cannot release them back into the Gulf of Mexico until it's a healthy enough environment. You know, if we were to put them back right now, probably get them back in our care and have to go through the whole process again. And it's a long process to get these guys healthy.